What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. MLB The Show 24 franchise mode. Going to be doing the Miami Marlins today, a team that's been decimated by injuries. Really not a bad team. Did they make a lot of moves in the offseason? No, but still not a bad team. They could use a little bit more offense, and their pitching has just been absolutely killed with injuries, unfortunately. Sandy Alcantara's out for the season. Yuri Perez had Tommy John, I'm pretty sure. So let's take a look at this roster. We got Yuri Perez, only 20 years old, going to be an absolute stud when he gets healthy. Sandy Alcantara won a Cy Young a few years ago. Had to have surgery, but he's going to be our second pitcher in the rotation. Jesus Luzardo, who's only 26, who's been very good for them after getting him in a trade. A lot of teams are going to be calling about this guy, and I hope my Cardinals are one of them because they could definitely use him. A.J. Puck, who they made a starter, who's been pretty good in that role. Braxton Garrett, Trevor Rogers, Edward Cabrera. Like, they got a surplus of pitching. The problem is that so many of their pitching is injured. But, I mean, in the game, we got a lot to work with when it comes to starting rotation. Bullpen definitely could use some work. Anthony Bender, 74 overall, is our best relief pitcher. Then we have Andrew Nardi. And after that, it's all 60 overalls. It's JT Chargas, Matt Andres, Yanni Torino. So that's definitely something we got to get if we're going to try to compete. Tanner Scott, elite closer for the Miami Marlins. What a year he had last year. 2.31 ERA, was with the Orioles for a few years. Free agent after this year, so I have to look to re-sign him. Catcher, definitely could use an improvement. That's a position the Marlins have been rumored to trade for. I don't know if they're going to do that anymore unless they trade for a young catcher. But Christian Bethancourt and Nick Forte are their two catchers. Not the best catching duo. First base, we got Josh Bell, who was pretty good for them last year. So hopefully he has a good year for us. Luis Arias, who is also, or not a free agent after this year, but free after the next season. Another guy I see the Marlins moving, but he has been spectacular for them ever since they got him in the trade for Pablo Lopez from the Twins. They also have Xavier Edwards, Vito Brujan, Jay Berger, who's been a really good pickup for them at 34 home runs last year. Definitely going to be a key part of our offense. Shortstop, they got Tim Anderson. We'll see how he plays. Might be in the lookout for a shortstop as well. They got Nick Gordon, Tristan Gray. Outfield, they got Brian De La Cruz and Jesus Sanchez, who both didn't really have horrible years last year. We'll see if they can replicate that for us. Jazz Chisholm Jr., who's a superstar. Well, I take that back. He's not a superstar, but he's a star. I mislabeled Jazz. I think he's very good. He's not a superstar. Maybe he will be eventually, but not yet. And then Victor Mesa Jr., only 22 years old. And they have Avisail Garcia, who has not worked out for them, hasn't been able to stay on the field. Just not a good contract for the Marlins, but he was good for the Brewers. So, I mean, you can't fault them for paying him, especially if he's coming off a 29 home run season. But Milwaukee and Miami are two completely different ballparks as well. You got Milwaukee, hitter's ballpark, Miami, not so much. So, looks like right field, bullpen, left field, shortstop, catcher. There's going to be a lot of positions we got to get upgrade on this team. So I'm going to go ahead and get this first season underway. Actually, I'll take a look at free agency real quick, see if there's anybody that can really help us. I mean, all these guys are getting up there in age. Do we sign someone like a Charles Lopez to our bullpen? See if we can get rid of. I'll get rid of Josh Sampson and sign Charles Lopez. Put him in our bullpen. Also have Doug Walter as well. So maybe we can get rid of some of these guys that are like D potentials, like Matt Andres, not going to do much, and sign some of these young studs to be in our bullpen. So catcher, no. First base, we're pretty good. We could get a Brandon Belt or a C.J. Cron, but I think I'm pretty satisfied with Josh Bell at first base. Third base, we're good. Shortstop, I mean, Tim Anderson's younger than Elvis Andrus. And in the outfield, Pham got signed, so there's not really much outfield. So going to get this first season underway. We'll see what the trade block's looking like. We're getting, good trade offers or anything, and we'll see how we're looking at the trade deadline. So we have an early trade offer. Genesis Cabrera, who's 27, in AAA right now, for Yanni Torino's 3-year age difference. We got B potential compared to D potential. Going to go ahead and accept this trade. We're at our first trade deadline, and we are 39-68. This first season is going to be a fill-out process anyways. But, man, it has not went good. We're going to have to make a lot of moves in the offseason to try to compete with the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets. The Nats are going to keep getting better and better. It's just not been good. So let's take a look at how everybody's been doing and see why we've been struggling. Jazz has been solid. The average is about where he's been his whole career. His numbers, his slugging is definitely down, but not horrible numbers for Jazz. Nick Gordon has not been good. Luis Arias has been, great. The average is a little down, but still. Not a horrible season. Jake Berger has been struggling, only 14 home runs so far. Josh Bell has been actually awesome for us. We might need to re-sign him so we don't have to worry about first base. Brian De La Cruz has been solid, 11 home runs, 250 average. Jesus Sanchez, we've been getting a lot of trade offers for, and you can see why. 11 home runs, 293 average, looking close to 500. What a year he's having. Christian Bethencourt's been, meh. Didn't really expect him to hit much anyways. So they have Christian Bethencourt in right field. That's a little different. Let me move Avisail Garcia back to right field, who's just having actually a pretty solid year. Might need to move that contract, though, eventually in the offseason or maybe at the trade deadline. And then Nick Fortes is not hitting much either. He does have 6 home runs. Tim Anderson's been pretty good. I think he's playing platoon against lefties. Yeah, so that's why he's not in the lineup. We had to bring in Vital Brujan, who's not been great. Saw Christian Bethencourt and Victor Mesa Jr. has not been great. So the lineup's not looking too hot. Not going to lie. Yuri Perez has been good. 6-9, 3.45 ERA. I will take that. Sandy Alcantara's not having a great year. ERA close to 5. Trevor Rogers has been very good. 4-9, 3.42 ERA. AJ Puck's been solid. 7-7, 3.87 ERA. 106 strikeouts, 118 innings. Jesus Luzardo was injured. That's why his games and innings are a little down, but still not a bad year. So the rotation is not looking bad. I mean, is it great? No, but it's not horrible. Edward Cabrera out of the bullpen's giving us solid production. ERA could be a little bit down, but still a solid season. Braxton Garrett's been awesome out of the bullpen, 3.20 ERA. JT not been great. Bert Smith's having a really good year, 3.80 ERA. Not a really good year, but a good year for him. Sixto Sanchez, another guy who they've really been looking to get healthy and back on track. ERA got to be better than that. Edward Cabrera, our trade acquisition, 0.75 ERA in 12 innings. Excellent season so far. Anthony Bender has not been good. And then Tanner Scott has been awesome. 24 out of 28 save opportunities, 2.03 ERA. So we look at our overall team. And before I look at the trade block, I'm going to try to re-sign Tanner Scott. I know the Marlins don't spend a lot of money, but our bullpen, our player payroll ain't very high. So I'm going to see how much I can get Tanner Scott. I'm going to offer him $27 million for 2 years. He'll accept that. So we got him for the rest of the franchise for 2 more seasons, 13.5 or 13.5 million. I will take that. So we really just need more offense. And we look at the trade block. A lot of our guys are the main guys on the trade block. I put a lot of them on there to see if we can get any good offers, maybe upgrade our offense. A lot of pitching on the trade block. Josh Bell, that's another guy I need to go and try to re-sign real quick. So let me see how much Josh Bell wants. He's having a really good season at first base. It seems like Josh Bell just doesn't want to re-sign unless we offer him a lot of money. I mean, that's 17.3. Okay, I could pay Josh Bell that money. He's what, 31? Yeah, I could pay him that for 2 more. He's at 8.6 million. I mean, he's making less than he is right now. So I mean, I could do that, especially when the year he's having. He's probably gonna hit 30 home runs for us. So looking at the trade block, not a lot of options offensively. We might just have to go see if we can get somebody. So we need a shortstop. I'm going to go look at left field. Actually, right field. Right field is what we need. So I'm going to look at right fielders. See if there's anybody out there we could possibly go get that's worth getting. Looking through some of these like Jackson Chourio, obviously not going to trade. Do we go out and get a Joey Weimer? He's struggling, but I mean the Brewers have a lot of outfielders. A Sal Frelick, is that somebody we go after? I mean, I can see the Brewers being a team we make a deal for. Garrett Mitchell's having an okay season. None of these guys are really hitting like that. But Joey Weimer could be a guy we add for more power. So I'm going to see if I can unload Avisail Garcia if they take a good prospect back. So Jacob Berry, not going to get the job done. We got a lot of second base. Let's see. I want to trade some of the pitching we have for Joey Weimer. I mean, we got a lot of pitching. So I'll throw in Max Meyer, who's having a pretty good year. And I'll throw in Jonah Bride, who's 28, not really going to have an opportunity to play for us. For Joey Weimer, I think this is, we're giving him Max Meyer. And the Brewers are just, geniuses when it comes to developing pitching. We're giving them that to take on Avisail Garcia's contract. Maybe he gets to hitting again. So we're going to get Joey Weimer to play right field. I think this helps us out a lot offensively. We'll see how Joey Weimer develops in right field. And I also got to check on the two closers I signed. One's struggling a little bit, the other one's having a good year. So I'm going to add him to the 40-man. And let's see if anybody's struggling here. I mean, Sixto Sanchez, he's out of option, but he has an ERA of 5.87. He's 25. I'm going to send JT down and give that guy an opportunity. So I'm going to wait till the offseason to make any more moves. I think, we'll see how our lineup plays the rest of the year. Could trade some people, but I'd rather re-sign Tanner Scott and Josh Bell. I don't think we really have anybody else scheduled to hit free agency, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Jesus Luzardo's a free agent yet. No, he's not. So no other free agents to be. Luis Arias is going to have to be something we decide on in the offseason or next season, but I'm going to let this season play out, see where we set, and make some moves in the offseason. First season in the books. Obviously, we didn't finish how we would have hoped. Fill out process, like I said, the first season. We didn't end up finishing in last place, which is good, but man, the Braves just dominated. We're going to have a lot of work to do in the offseason. Let's see what everybody did to finish off the season. Let's take a look at the lineup. Jazz Chisholm Jr. ended up finishing with 21 home runs. I'll take that. 277 average. Numbers definitely went up in the second half. Victor Mesa Jr. ended up getting some playing time and left with Brian De La Cruz out. He ended up getting hurt. Not the best numbers. Luis Arias ended up having a good year. His numbers are definitely down across the board, so hopefully he can bounce back, even though he's still hitting 288 and hit 15 home runs, which is good for him. Jake Berger, down year. Hopefully he can bounce back next year. Maybe we should get him some more protection in the lineup. Josh Bell, great year. Definitely fell off a little bit after we gave him the contract extension, though, because he had like 20 home runs at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline and finished with 25, so he definitely cooled off. Jesus Sanchez had a great year. Maybe he's our left fielder going forward if he keeps up this production. Joey Weimer ended up having a pretty solid season, pretty identical to last year. Ended up finishing with the same home run RBI numbers, which is kind of funny. 13 home runs, 42 RBIs. Nick Forte's not great production. Dane Myers didn't play much, didn't put up good numbers. Tim Anderson was solid. I don't know if we'll bring him back. We definitely need to get an upgraded shortstop. Otto Lopez, utility guy, 1 for 20, not great. Emmanuel Rivera actually played pretty solid, just was hurt most of the year. And then Christian Bethancourt didn't have a great year offensively. So we take a look at the pitching rotation. Yuri Perez, 9-11, 3.72 ERA. Not a bad season. Sandy Alcantara, definitely got to get better numbers next season. 4.85 ERA from a number 2, ain't going to cut it. Trevor Rogers, didn't get a lot of run support, but still had a 3.73 ERA, 7-13 record. AJ Puk finished with a 500 record. ERA went up a little bit in the second half. And then Jesus Luzardo had an excellent season. So, I mean, if we look at the pitching rotation, we might be able to get another hitter by trading maybe Edward Cabrera or Braxton Garrett. Edward Cabrera had a solid year out of the bullpen. Braxton Garrett was excellent, still 3.30 ERA. Burch Smith gave us good numbers. Sixto Sanchez gave us innings, but not great ERA. Genesis Cabrera was an excellent pickup, 0.84 ERA in 21 innings. Andrew Nardi was solid, not great. And then Anthony Bender's got to have a bounce back year. And then Tanner Scott, 1.92 ERA and stayed 42 out of 47 games. So really, pitching didn't look too bad. We had a few pitchers underperform, but not bad at all. Let's see who wins the World Series here. The Dodgers defeat the Red Sox to win the World Series. So we got some work to do, like I said. We got to get some offense. We got to get some bullpen help. I'm going to try to keep it realistic. I know the Marlins don't spend a ton of money, but we don't have a lot of money on the books. Probably a little bit more now that we re-signed Bell and Tanner Scott. But we definitely have some money to spend. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll show you guys the moves we made at the beginning of Season 2. Season about to get underway. Rotation's still the same. You guys know we didn't really need to make moves to rotation. We get Caleb Ferguson for the bullpen. Only bullpen move I made. I feel like our bullpen is a little bit improved from last season. If it struggles, we'll definitely make some moves to deadline. Coming off a pretty solid year. Got him for $3.6 million. Not really bad at all. We signed Danny Jansen to be our catcher. Only a one-year deal, $9 million. Adds a little bit more pop to our lineup. Definitely going to be better than the 2 catches we had last year. And then first base, second base, third, all the same. Then shortstop, we got Gleyber Torres. I know there's been, questions about Gleyber Torres' arm at short. We're going to give him an opportunity to play short. Gave, him $15.5 million per year for 2 years, around $30 million on a 2-year deal. Didn't think that was too outrageous for the Marlins. So again, more power. And then De La Cruz and Sanchez still in left, Jazz in center, and we got Joey Weimer in right field. So I think this team will be an improvement. Hopefully we end up at least trying to make a run at the wild card. If not, then we'll just have to keep, trying to add to this bullpen. I think the bullpen will be the weak part. I think this lineup is probably going to be pretty solid. Not great, but pretty solid. So about to get the second season underway. Let's see how it goes. We're going to trade for didnt from the Orioles. Having a great year, 1.93 ERA. Free agent after the season. We'll try to re-sign him. We're only giving up a D potential shortstop. They wanted Jordan McCants, who's not really playing well, but they wanted him in this trade, so we're going to go ahead and do it. At the second trade deadline, we're sitting at 500. We still got a shot. We're 8 games out of first place, so we definitely got a shot. Wild card standings were 3 games out, so we make the right moves and get hot, we definitely have a chance. Let's see how everybody's been performing and why we were sitting at 500. Jazz, 14 home runs, 52 RBIs, not horrible. Definitely could use better production. Brian De La Cruz with 19 home runs at the trade deadline, drove in 57 so far. He's really having an excellent year. Luis Arias, seems like his numbers just keep going down. That's something to look at when we get closer to free agency after the season. Like, do we look to replace him? I mean, he's just not, like, he's not playing bad. It's just his numbers compared to, and obviously hitting 354 and 316 is hard as hell to replicate. Don't get me wrong, but it's like his numbers across the board keep dropping. So it's, especially his slugging's down a lot. So we'll have to see how he turns out at the end of the season. Jake Berger has just not been good so far in this franchise. 15 home runs, hitting 194. That's not good. Danny Jansen, really can't complain. He's probably going to have a career year for us. Hopefully we can re-sign him in free agency if he keeps this up. Jesus Sanchez, having a solid year, not anything special. Josh Bell is really, falling back down to earth, I guess you could say a little bit. 14 home runs, only 35 RBIs for Josh Bell. So that extension is not looking good so far. He's hitting 260. He's just not hitting for power. His power has taken a hit so far. Gleyber Torres has been injured a lot of the year, and man, has he been horrible when he's played. Only 3 home runs for Gleyber and 13 RBIs in 44 games. He's only slugging 300. Wow. That is not what I wanted to see from our big offseason free agent signing. That is not good. Joey Weimer is not having a good year at all. 185 average. So it looks like really the lineup's still a problem. And I really thought we made enough upgrades to really get this team at least to, try to, and we still have a shot at the postseason, but it's like this lineup just hasn't hit. I mean, Nick Fortes off the bench has been solid. Brujan's been good. Manuel Rivera's hitting 277 off the bench. I mean, the bench looks great. It's just the actual lineup is not getting the job done. So let's take a look at the Major League pitching rotation. Jesus Luzardo with an ERA of 7. Wow. So we have him and Jake Berger and Gleyber Torres. We have a lot of underperforming guys or guys who are not performing up to their standard. After a 3.05 ERA last year, 7.17. Wow, that is not what I expected to see. How about Yori Perez, though? We need to put Yori Perez top of the rotation right now. Yori Perez, 9-5 with a 2.06 ERA and 94 overall. He just keeps getting better. Sandy Alcantara having a better year. Still could be a little bit better numbers-wise, but not a bad year at all. We saw Jesus Luzardo's numbers. AJ Puck, not performing that great either. 5.18 ERA. I know he's a 4 starter, but still not great. Trevor Rogers has been solid in that 5th starter spot, 4.15 ERA. So our rotation's even been underperformed, especially Jesus Luzardo. I did not expect to see ERA of 7. Braxton Garrett, 2.53 ERA. His overall is dropping when he's having 2 spectacular seasons. Make it make sense in Mlbtheshow. Edward Cabrera is still putting up about numbers he put up last year. Andrew Nardi's pitched a lot better. Genesis Cabrera only pitched 7 innings, but 3.86 ERA, not too bad. Dylan Tate's been a great acquisition, 1.65 ERA. Charles Lopez has been great, 3.24 ERA. Caleb Ferguson, another free agent acquisition, has been good as well. And then Tanner Scott, his numbers aren't horrible, but definitely could be better. But it seems like really this whole team's just underperforming in general. Let's take a look at the trade block. Do we go out and get a Tyree Scoop? We don't really need rotation help, and he's not having a great year, but do we go out and get him? Do we go out and get an Alex Bregman to add to our offense? He's making really not crazy numbers. Brandon Drury, another guy, not really having a fantastic year. I'm going to see who they want for Alex Bregman. Let's see if we can throw in Luis. They'll take Luis Arias for Alex Bregman? Are you serious? Wow, that's not a trade I expected them to want to do. Wow, that's Do we trade Arias or do we try to throw in Jake Berger, who's been underperforming? Got him signed for the rest of the franchise. He got a lot of power. He just hasn't performed. Or do we trade a free agent to be in Arias and throw in, like, to make it fair, maybe like a Ryan Weathers, who's been good? I think we're going to do this trade. We're going to get Alex Bregman, who's 31. We'll have him signed next season on a reasonable deal for Luis Arias and Ryan Weathers. We're going to add to our offense and see if this helps at our lineup somehow. So we're going to switch him and Berger. We're going to put Bregman at third base, and we're going to put Berger at second base, excuse me. So we're going to have that go on and see if that helps our lineup. I know it's one move, but we need to add some power. Don't really know what else we can really do right now. I mean, obviously we could upgrade the lineup a little bit more, but when we're looking at the trade block, there's not really a ton of big-time hitters besides Bregman available. Like, we can go out and get a Brandon Drury, but it's like, is he really that big of an improvement right now? He's hitting 288, which is great, but we need more power. Power is what we're lacking. So I'm going to see what they want for Tyree School. I'm going to see. They want Jazz and Jacob Miller. I don't know if I could trade Jazz. He's been one of our really only reliable hitters. I'm going to throw in Edward Cabrera. Do I trade Luzardo? I mean, they're interested in this deal. Tyrese Skubal's not having he's a free agent for next season. I mean, him, Alcantara, and Yuri Perez will be quite the big three of rotation. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I might have to do this trade. Edward Cabrera and Jesus Luzardo for Tyrese Skubal. We're going to do it. Got to take some gambles here. I'm trying to get this team to the postseason. We're going to call back up Anthony Bender to be in the bullpen. Welcome to Miami, Tyrese Skubal. Hopefully it's a move that pans out, because a lot of moves I made have not panned out, unfortunately. So we're about to see. So I'm going to send the rest of the season. Let's see if we can sneak into the playoffs. In the books, we had some league leaders. Yuri Perez led the league in ERA, and Braxton Garrett with 20 wins. And Alex Bregman led the league in walks. And then we won some awards. Braxton Garrett won the Cy Young Award. I think he was pitching in the bullpen, too. We end up missing the postseason. We finished above 500, 85 and 77, but it wasn't enough. We just missed out on the wild card by one game. That is tough. That's a bag breaker right there. Let's see how everybody did before we get, the final season and final off season underway. Jazz had a solid season, 22 home runs, 69 RBIs, about where Jazz usually puts up numbers. Gleyber Torres had a better second half. Hopefully he can have a Gleyber Torres type year next year. Alex Bregman had a great, first half of a Marlins career for him, 33 home runs. Jake Berger bounced back a little bit, 21 home runs. Still expect better numbers. Drove in 87 though. Brian De La Cruz has been hitting homers for us, 23 home runs. Josh Bell about where his numbers were last year. It's not really too mad at that. Jesus Sanchez, down year from last year. Joey Weimer's been just putting up the same numbers. Hasn't really improved at all. His numbers are down really all across the board besides home runs and RBIs. So that's not good to see. His walks went up, but a lot of strikeouts. Danny Jansen had a great year. Hopefully we can re-sign him. Not a bad year at all. Off the bench, Nick Fortes gave us solid production out of the backup catcher. Brujan gave us good numbers. Our bench is looking good. A lot of good numbers for the bench. So let's take a look at the pitching, and then we'll get this final season going, or off-season underway. Yuri Perez was outstanding. 14-8, 2.50 ERA for Yuri. Tyrese Skubal definitely had a better second half. 8-18. Not a great record, but we know him, Alcantara, and Perez are going to be our big three in the rotation. Sandy had a bounce-back year, 13-9, ERA under 4. A.J. Puck had a better second half. And then Trevor Rogers was great in that fifth starter spot. Braxton Garrett won a Cy Young out of the bullpen. How about that? He won a Cy Young award, but his overall is dropping. I've said this before. I can't stand it about this game sometimes. His numbers were outstanding. Charles Lopez with a great first season for him. Andrew Nardi had a good year. Genesis Cabrera had a pretty solid year. Only pitched 9 innings. Dylan Tate was outstanding. 1.27 ERA out of the pen. Anthony Bender had a good bounce back year. Caleb Ferguson was great. And then Tanner Scott, not a horrible year for Tanner Scott. Like, obviously it's not as good as last year, but I'll take those numbers. So we ended up re-signing Caleb Ferguson to a 1-year deal, and we re-signed Dylan Tate to a 1-year deal. And good thing we did, because both of them were amazing this season. So let's see who wins this World Series, and we'll get this offseason and final season underway. The Dodgers defeat the Orioles. That'd be an exciting World Series for sure. So what do we need to fix on this team? That's the big question. What does this team need? Pitching, we're good. Bullpen could use maybe a few upgrades. It just feels like the lineup's what's been underperforming. Second base, we could use a second baseman, even though we got Jake Burger. Actually, I want to move Jake Burger to second base. See if it affects his overall. I know how that can be in this game with overalls. It made it go down a little bit, but not too horrible. Like, we have a lot of high overalls. It ain't like our team has just been bad overalls on our team. It's just they have underperformed. So we'll have to try to, do some different things in the offseason if we can and try to get to the postseason this final season. So let me get to work, and I'll see you guys at the beginning of the third season. And third season underway. We made one move in the offseason. I know that's shocking to hear. You made one move. Your team didn't make the playoffs. I know. But I feel like we played better in the second half. I feel like we could stay healthy. A lot of players improved. Our rotation's looking really damn good. 1 through 5. Bullpen's not looking terrible. I think we could use an improvement, but again, could wait the trade deadline to do that. I know we didn't do a lot last trade deadline, but Danny Jansen we brought back on a 1-year deal. We did sign Kyle Schwarber. That's the one move we made. I feel like we need a designated hitter. That's something we've been lacking. He's coming off a 36 home run year. We could possibly platoon him and Josh Bell at first base. We really have to do that as well. Second base, third base, short, left, center, and right are all the same. Joey Weimer, if he underperforms, right field have to be something we look at as well. So I trust this team will get us to the playoffs in this final season. So let's see if I'm right. Let's do it. The season, Jake Burger, again, is not having a very good year. 16 home runs, but he's hitting 226. Just hasn't really been that good in franchise. Maybe he's just one of them guys who don't perform well in franchise for me. I don't know. We're going to trade him and Thomas White, who's a 21-year-old starting pitcher who's playing pretty well in Double-A for Brendan Donovan. He's having a pretty solid season for the Cardinals. I'm going to bring in Brendan Donovan, and hopefully that jolts our offense. At the trade deadline, and we're 15 games out, 51 and 57. I thought this team was going to work. It is not. Let's see why. Jazz not been hitting. Gleyber Torres has not been a good addition at all. Alex Bregman's having a good year. Kyle Schwarber's been doing Kyle Schwarber things. Danny Jansen's having a bad year. Brian De La Cruz has been good. Brendan Donovan's been good. Jesus Sanchez has been solid. Josh Bell has been horrible. So, I mean, you see Jazz, Gleyber, and Josh Bell, 3 guys we really rely on to be big parts of this offense, have underperformed. Nick Fortes has been decent. Joey Weimer, we had to bench. He's just been bad. I'm not going to lie. It's been a bad addition for him. Bruhan's not been good, and Emmanuel Rivera's hit 123. I mean, you look at this offense, just a lot of cold players. I mean, we just haven't really – a lot of them – we've made moves. It's just the moves we made have not worked out, especially Gleyber Torres. He has not been a good addition at all. Let's see how the pitching's been. Yori Perez, another good season for him, 3.07 ERA. Tyrese Kugel's been excellent. Sandy Alcantara's been good. Trevor Rogers has been good, and A.J. Puck's been good. All ERAs under 4. The rotation looks like it's been solid. Braxton Garrett has not had a good year after the Cy Young season last year. Sixto Sanchez having a good bounce-back year. Caleb Ferguson's been good. Andrew Nardi's been solid. Anthony Bender's been solid. Genesis Cabrera just hasn't been pitching much, but not horrible numbers. Dylan Tate's been, once again, one of our most reliable pitchers out of the pen. And Tanner Scott saved 30 games so far. So, I mean, we're 15 games out. Like, I don't know if I can make – I mean, we're 4.5 games out of a wild card spot. So that gives us hope. And the Braves are 67 and 23. Is there anybody on the trade block? We already traded for Brendan Donovan. I'm just not seeing much here that really can get us on a run. I mean, the guys we have just have to hit. I mean, we have a pretty good lineup with Jazz and Gleyber and Bregman and Schwarber and Danny and Brian. I mean, we just got to hit. And if we hit in the second half, I think we'll make a run. We'll just have to see how it goes. So let's do it. The season is over. We end up finishing 79 and 83. Just not a very good franchise for me with the Marlins. We did make some moves. Could I have been a little bit more aggressive? Absolutely. I thought we were going to go on a little bit of a run in the second half. We did for the, first few months, and then the last month hit, and we just struggled. So let's see what everybody did. We'll wrap up this franchise. Jazz had a down year across the board. Not a good year. Gleyber Torres, we talked about, just underperformed his contract. Alex Bregman's been a good pickup. He's been about one of the only reliable guys we've had in this lineup. Kyle Schwarber, Great pickup as well. 36 home runs. Danny Jansen just had a bad year as well. Brian De La Cruz had a good year. He's been reliable as well. Brendan Donovan gave us good numbers. 21 home runs for him is pretty impressive. Jesus Sanchez has been pretty good. Joey Weimer, I mean, it's like Joey Weimer puts up the same numbers every. He's improving in overall, but is he really improving? 13 home runs, 13 home runs, 13 home runs, 13 home runs. Like the guy puts up the same exact numbers for 4 years straight. It's insane. And then we look at the bench. Josh Bell, just a horrible year. Nick Fortes was good, was solid. Brujan was not good. Emmanuel Rivera was not good. So the offense, I think I forgot somebody. Nick Gordon, not good as well. So the offense is very much underperformed. Yuri Perez, the ERA is a little high, but still 13-10. Tyrese Skubal had an excellent year. Sandy Alcantara was good, about identical numbers to last year. Trevor Rogers had an excellent year. And AJ Puck had a solid year. Braxton Garrett, not a good year at all. 5-14. Oof. Caleb Ferguson, another good year. The ERA went up one, but still a very good season for him. Andrew Nardi was excellent. Anthony Bender was good. Genesis Cabrera was pretty solid. Dylan Tate, down year, but is it really a down year? I guess you could say it, but still great numbers. And Tanner Scott stayed 47 games. So Marlins fans, I apologize. I let y'all down. I couldn't get y'all to even the playoffs. We'll have to see if we do better with the next team in the NL East. I will see you guys for the next franchise mode. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts down below and check out the other links from my other channels in the description. Peace.